So as we begin talking to our parts, what we'll notice is they'll immediately start to feel relief. But here's the issue. We have to make sure we're being genuine. That's why it's vitally important for us to ensure that it's the core self leading the conversation. Oftentimes we'll have a part of us that serves as some kind of manager, is the boss. Maybe that's the part that typically bullies us. Maybe we call it a critic. It feels like it's right, and it probably resembles somebody of authority in our life that talked down to us. So we learned how to talk down to ourselves. We want to get that part out of the way first. The trick is to ask ourselves, as we identify the part that we want to work with, so let's say it's an anxious part. I'm feeling anxious about the job interview that I'm about to go to. I want to ask myself, how do I feel about that anxious part? I might say, well, I feel like it's pathetic and it needs to grow up. And I'm telling it right now, get over this. Come on, everybody goes to job interviews. Well, that's not the core self. We know about the 8 C's that indicate what the core self has to be, and it always is those 8 C's. So if we hear a tone like that, well, it's like, you're being a little impatient, you're being a little condescending, you're being a little rude, not the core self. So what we do is we level up from that part. So we work directly with that part that's in charge. We respect the authority at the start, which again allows us to become an ally with each part. Then we build trust so that we can take control back of our system. So we could talk to that part that's a little condescending and say, hey, this means a lot to you. You really care about getting that job. You really want to perform well. And mind you, we'll say these things a little bit spread out because we want to wait for some kind of indication of how this part is responding. Maybe at first it won't give you much at all, like whatever, I'm not listening to you. And maybe you're not hearing words, but you're feeling the idea that it's giving you, sort of or maybe an agreement. So we're looking for that validation or that dismissal to indicate this part is on board. By latching on and showing appreciation for what the part desires, we're letting it know that we care about it, that we actually can align with parts of it, which lowers its defenses. And once its defenses lower, it can better identify how it was wrong. So as we further work with that part, you really got upset because it felt like we were being anxious for no reason. And we'll feel like that part starts saying, yeah, here's the thing. If the Creator really made us, and all parts come from what the Creator made, it means that all desires go back to an origin that are good, even though they get sort of led astray and they get deceived and a little bitter over time. What we do is we start to draw them back to their original intention and remind them, not by telling them, but by reflecting what they're feeling. We remind them of the values that are core to them. This is how we bring them back into alignment with the system. So we end up working with the part and saying, thank you for caring so much about the job interview. Thank you for wanting to lead the system. Do you see how leading in that negative way might not be helpful? And the part starts to agree because we first aligned with it. This is the key to permanent change.